At a recent tile and drainage water management field day in Ionia County, Shelby Burlew, a livestock environmental educator with MSU Extension, spoke to the gathering about best management practices when it comes to manure management on tiled fields.
So one of the best management practices to consider on tile drain fields are those fields that have what we call drainage control structures already installed in those fields. Those are a great technology to use when applying manure, and so what producers can actually do, they can go out to their field, check those tile outlets to notice, are they flowing, are they not flowing. If they're planning a manure application in that field with a control structure, what producers can do prior to application is insert what we call stop logs into the control structures. Stop logs are devices that can be inserted that help control the water level in the field. And so inserting those stop logs into that control structure will actually stop the flow of water through that tile outlet. It's going to keep everything in that field. And so it's a really good preventative measure. So you're not, to help prevent manure discharge from that tile outlet if that becomes a problem. Now, after manure has been applied, producers can actually lift up those stop logs, check to see if there's flow, and if there is, if they still notice flow after manure application, reinsert those stop logs to prevent that flow and prevent that discharge. Another really important aspect, or a management aspect, of having those control structures installed is even a couple weeks after manure application, especially if there's a heavy rainfall event predicted. Farmers can put those stop logs back in to stop flow and make sure they're keeping the manure and the nutrients in the field and preventing them from reaching the tile lines and flowing out those tile outlets. So one of the most important things that all farms need to have in place, whether they're raising livestock or crops or vegetables, is to have an emergency response plan. And each response plan is tailored to the specific farm. So when we look at farms with tile drainage and farms that are applying manure, it's really important to have an emergency plan in place. So that way farmers know how to handle, if they start noticing manure coming out of the tile outlets, they need to have a plan in place to go ahead and take care of those measures. So whether that is having something, a tile plug that they can put in that outlet to prevent discharge, or even using something like plywood to cover up a culvert or a tile outlet. Those are just unique aspects, but it's going to be very specific to the farm. One of the best places to go to get more resources on emergency plans is working with the conservation district and the MEP technician. That's one of the requirements for farms that are working towards MEP verification, is to have an emergency plan already in place on their farm. And those MEP technicians are a great resource locally for producers to go to start working on those emergency plans. Also, there's a lot of resources that we have within Extension that look specifically at different things, like I mentioned, tile drainage and manure applications.